And we're live. Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday and happy Thanksgiving today. Is there something that you're thankful or grateful for? Please let us know in the comments. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, whether you're celebrating it or not, and that you're all safe and sound wherever in the world you are. So today's guest speaker here at community NoCodeOps community show will be Bala Panneerselvam. And I want to read something to you from his bio on LinkedIn because I thought it was really interesting. And what we're going to discover today is how to create internal tools in just a matter of minutes using the product that Bala has been working on, which is called Zorp. And it's the first time that I see this product, so I'm really excited to see how it works. But something that really caught my attention on his profile was this about section that he wrote. So not having the right purpose-built software is probably the biggest problem in running operations. We're building the technology platform that empowers everyone to build powerful, scalable tools very specific to their operations in minutes. So I thought that description really caught our audience and like what we're trying to do here at NoCodeOps community. So I invited him to come and show us what Zorp is all about. So without further ado, let's get into our metaverse, into our Gather Town. Here he is, and let's join our speaker. As you can see, he's already there on stage. So here we are. Hi, Bala.
Hello. Yes.
Were you going AFK for a minute? I was just doing a quick introduction, about you, and I was just telling the audience that one of the things that really impacted me, I guess, was your about section on LinkedIn, because it's all about, it says not having the right purpose-built software is probably the biggest problem in running operations. So I thought that was really interesting, and obviously I'm very eager to see how Zorp works and like how it's gonna help our operators build internal tools. So I thought you would be, the perfect guest speaker for our community here at NoCodeOps. Do you want to give us a little bit of an introduction on yourself, your background, how you came up with the idea, and how you think Zorp is really gonna help people in operations?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. I think it's my privilege to come, talk about what we are actually building. Thanks for having me. So to give a little bit of background, so my experience has been in building products for operational teams, and I worked across mobility companies. I worked across e-commerce, hospitality, fintech, and predominantly I've been building products for operations supply chain teams. Right. So after the latest stint I had working as director of product at one of the companies, I realized that. It actually is so compared to a world where AI can create music. Anybody who wants to start a business, they can start in like 10-15 minutes. When it comes to anything with respect to operations, you are stuck with spreadsheets and papers in this world, even in this world, which is quite surprising. And companies which are serious about running operations tend to build their own tools, but the cost of building those tools is like very, very high, right? So if you need an engineering team to build anything which is like, let's say you have a sales team and you simply want to build an application so the sales team can do their jobs in a easy way. These applications take like 3 months to 6 months. You have to have like 5 people, engineers, designers, product managers to build these products, and it's going to take you about $1 million. And how many people have $1 million lying around to build these applications, right? So that's a problem we have actually faced. So in the companies that I have built products, predominantly the team is around like 20 to 60 people, building specifically for like operations. We run like this massive scale operations in terms of hundreds of thousands of orders being catered to every single day. So my current co-founders, so they are my engineering counterparts at the previous companies. That's how I met Vivek and Subbu, so they're not here. So we actually came together and we were discussing, why do people have to reinvent the wheel again and again, and why do we have to like get stuck to spreadsheets? What does a world look like where everybody can build their own software to run their operations efficiently? And that software is something that should actually be scalable and flexible enough that it suits every need of every single business that is actually out there. So that's kind of was a premise. Yeah, so that was the genesis of Zorp. What we wanted to validate is that whether can we actually build a product that's actually scalable, not something that runs on spreadsheet, not something that actually is a simple like a web view into a mobile application, because we don't think that's actually scalable. No company that's serious enough to run their operations will be able to use those, right? So our premise from day one has been, how do you bring product, how do you enable people to build products which are really scalable, reliable, but that can be built in 1/100th of a time, right? So that's the like the core premise between what actually Zorp is. So today, no matter what, so we primarily focus on mobile-based operations today. So that's the area we're actually entering with. Today, any kind of mobile-based operations, whatever it takes you to, like for example, any application that takes you like 3 months to 6 months for you to build, you can literally build those in like 10, 15 minutes using the Zob platform. And it's not just building it, going live on the App Store and Play Store, start using it and start testing it. Everything should happen like 10, 15 minutes. So that's basically what we're actually trying to do.
That's impressive. I can't wait to see. Should I time you?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So what kind of case study are we going to see today? So what are you going to show?
Sure. I want to keep things a little simple today. I mean, should be enough for you to understand the platform. So I thought about a couple of use cases. You guys let me know what you want me to build. One I thought was, imagine that you have an internal team and every team does like kind of a daily stand-up. And in this remote world, not everybody needs to be available on a call to do stand-ups physically. So virtually, let's imagine that you have a mobile application where you fill up your stand-up information and that data gets pushed to something like a Slack, an Airtable, etc., which could be a very, very simple application, like a stand-up application. That is one. The second thing that we can actually do is that imagine you have, yeah, I mean, you go and visit customers or you go and visit like vendors, etc. Let's say you want to take simple notes about each of those visits, and imagine that entire visit data actually gets pushed into your CRM or like a central record management system or Airtable or anything like this. So that could be like a second use case we can actually look at. Both of them are fairly simple. It shouldn't take us more than 10, 15 minutes to build. You let me know which one you want to go with actually.
Let me see. Considering that we have like good 40 minutes left, how about you show them both?
Awesome.
The more the merrier. Like in good
Yeah.
Thanksgiving spirit. Let's give it all.
Yes. All right. Which one do you want to go with first? The stand up or
Sure,
should we do the stand up?
let's do the daily stand up first.
All right.
And let's see if our operators can become the best employee of the month by implementing this in their company.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. You should be able to see my screen now.
Yes.
Cool. So, giving a little bit of introduction about the platform. So, what you see here is the Zorp desktop. So, it serves two purposes. One, it lets you build the application that you actually want to build. And second is after the application is actually live, you get to manage the users of the application, the teams, the tasks that are actually being executed in the application, etc. Right. So today we're going to keep it very simple. We're not going to go through the entire product, but we're going to get started with the building the application itself. Okay. So let me go to workflows. So anything and everything on Zorp kind of works on top of workflows. So imagine that you have the mobile application ready and available by default. You can build the individual flows within the mobile application using different workflows. Okay, so it means, I mean, simple terms, basically you have the same mobile app. You can also do a daily stand-up and you can use a second flow and actually do, let's say, a customer visit or an expense management or a leave management. So pretty much whatever it is, the same application should actually satisfy you to do any of these tasks. Okay.
I really
So
like the UI of the platform. Is very fresh and
awesome.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'll send the feedback to my designer. Awesome. So when you want to create a new workflow, obviously we have a bunch of templates that you can actually use. But for this case, we'll go with something from scratch, right? Now, as soon as I kick start, you can see that it's like mobile app screens that are actually present, and it indicates a flow of how the first screen moves on to the second screen, right? So this is kind of like a simple premise of how a workflow is actually built. Now, I'm going to quickly name this. Let's say stand up application. And so now I have a couple of screens. Let's say you have a more complicated workflow and you want to add more of those. All you have to do is just keep adding more screens, and you can connect them in whatever format you actually want, right? So let's come to a stand-up application. So the way at least we do stand-up is that every day we simply say what was that we did yesterday, what are we planning to do today, and if there are any blockers, we simply call it out, right? So that's, I'm going to go to these three questions and probably ask some, we'll probably take a selfie of the person before you start a day, right? So let's try and do that. So our workflow is fairly simple. So it's going to have a couple of screens. So I'm going to click to open the first screen. Okay. I'll quickly name this, stand up inputs. Okay. And as you can see, so this is an empty mobile app screen, and you can build this app using the components that are available on the left side. Okay. We have fairly enough components that can let you build pretty much anything you actually want. So in this case, let's say I want to show a simple text. I drag and drop a text display component, and I can say that, hey, good morning. Please complete the, or please input your, best good morning. Exactly.
You can just say, how are you today?
Yes. Right. So hey is not, I mean, hey is super impersonal, right? Probably I would want to call their name. Okay. So
Can you pull
and
their name?
yeah, exactly. Let's do that. So every person has a different name. So obviously I can't write something like Bala here, which would be very bad. So what we're going to do is typically you read this data from some kind of a database, right? So Zorp also provides a database with every single workflow you're actually creating. Okay. Let's say I want to see how the database actually looks like. All I have to do is just click on this button. It shows some of the predefined data fields that are actually available in Zorp, which are mostly task oriented, the user who is logged in, etc., etc. So in this case, I simply want to use the name of the user who is using the application. So I'm going to go to the logged in user, and within the logged in user, I'm going to choose his name and input. Oops, came here. Okay. So it is going to simply, when I use the application, it's going to say, hey Bala, how are you today? How are you today? Right? Simple as that. Now, obviously, the question you're going to ask the next question, which is like, hey, what if I don't want to use something that's default? What if I want to create my own fields? So we'll come to that. Okay. Now, obviously, the first question is, what did you do yesterday? Right. So in this case, it's a simple text field. I'm going to take an input from the user. The user is going to type it. Now, I do want to store the information that he has actually typed back into my database so that I can start using it, right? So there is an option to save the data. I can again choose the data field. Obviously, I don't have a field to save this data into. So I'm going to create a new one. Let's say yesterday, okay, which is a text field. All I have to do is just create. Now, what you've done is you've created a new field in your database, and you have configured that whatever input I enter over here gets saved into that field, right? Similarly, I'm going to add a couple of more fields. I'll say, what are you doing today? And or I'll create a new one. I'm going to call this today. And finally, I'll just duplicate this.
We're also giving a good ASMR sound experience with the keyboard close to the mic.
Oops, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I mean, it relaxes me, and
Yeah. Right. So in the end, probably we'll do something funny. Like let's say, let's take a selfie, or let's get a selfie of the person every morning, right? That'll be fresh. So I'm going to drag and drop a simple camera component. I'm going to say that, hey, show us your face.
Especially if somebody is like working from home in their pajamas.
Exactly. Right. So yeah, I think so. Here probably I'll not allow gallery. I'll allow only camera, and I'm going to say minimum one image is required. So this becomes mandatory, right? Yeah, this is as simple as that. Like anything else you would like to add, or is this fine?
Are there any blockers? No, that's fine. Yeah.
It's fine. All right. Cool. We don't need this. I'm going to delete this. And the completed screen, let's say something like uh, fantastic. You have a lovely day. Right. Let's say that's it. Now, yeah, our application is actually ready. Probably like 5 minutes. Cool. Before we go ahead, right? So one of the things I actually mentioned is I want to push this data into some other field, like probably like Slack or Airtable, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For this demo purpose, I have created a small Airtable base. I'm going to show you how it looks.
That's great. So you can integrate to Airtable and other.
Exactly.
Nice. I'm just going to encourage anyone here that would like to ask any questions. Feel free to drop them in the chat or jump on your mics. Just let us know.
Yeah. So you see, like this is a simple Airtable table. Obviously, you can do like much more complex things with this, right? So I'm going to push whatever data you enter over there. I'm going to push the data into the Airtable, right? So imagine that's how I want to do this. Okay, so I'll go back here. All I have to do is when the user clicks complete, I'm going to call the Airtable API and push this data. So all I have to do is just use a transition, and I'll say we call them actions. So one of the actions is a REST API action, right? I simply open the API and say push data to Airtable, and I think this is a post call. All I have to do is just go to Airtable and yeah, just copy. I've copied it before just to make things actually easier. That's all right. Right. So this is the format Airtable actually expects. So instead of using the user as a Bala, all I have to do
Is that code?
yeah, there's a little bit of code, but this is something
How
we're
dare
actually
you?
yeah, yeah, I know. Something we're not far off.
David will appreciate for sure. David is our developer, no coder, right
All
here.
right. All right. Yeah. So pass the data dot yesterday. So actually, this is something. It's a very exciting project we are actually working on. Something we're launching next month, where this whole integration bit is getting completely revamped. So yeah, probably I'll send a note. All right. So I'm gonna say blocker. Okay. So that's all the interview. Oh, we forgot to paste the URL. Copy paste the URL. So by the way, I'm not a developer, so I have to like do a lot of copy pasting here. So I have to do this also. And yeah, I'm gonna do this. Right. So that's it. Our API integration is actually done.
Where did you find that again? Because that was a bit fast.
This is I found it in Airtable. So they give this format. All I have to
Okay.
do is just copy and paste the same thing. That's all. I didn't do any changes.
And where do you access that page on Zorp to add the API? I just didn't see where
Oh,
you. Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, yeah. So that is so current in the current version. This is going to change in a month, but in the current version, in every transition, you have the ability to add an action.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're bringing more capabilities that even every single component will have the ability to do integrations. Like let's say you want to pull data dynamically and show a default value from an external database or an external your CRM or ERP or whatever it is, you will be able to do that in a month. Awesome. So our application is actually ready. Are you ready to use it?
Sure.
Awesome. So all I have to do is just hit publish, and our application is live. You can go to the Play Store and App Store, download the Zorp app, and start using it. I'm going to show you how it actually looks. Okay. All right. Can you see my phone screen?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Zorp app, and you can, yeah. So the same app that's actually downloaded from Play Store and App Store. It's not different at all. So you log in with the same user account which you use for the dashboard. So when you sign up, you get access to the same username and password. So you can do that. So right now I don't have anything empty. Let's say I want to do the stand up app we just did.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to do is create. You can see a lot of demo tasks we have created in the past, but the one we created just now is right. So I open it, and so this is the username of this account, unfortunately, but that's what you see. So what did you do yesterday? I prepared for uh, the no code ops demo, right? What I'm trying to do today, enjoying the demo process. Any blockers? Nothing's going wrong so far.
So far.
All
So far, so
right.
good.
So far, so good. So I'm going to take a picture. I can take, let's say, a selfie, and I upload, and I hit complete. Ah, yes. See, I thought something.
Jumped the gun too quickly.
I'm not like an API integration person, so yeah, something I did wrong with the API integration, unfortunately.
That's what we like. We like to see all the errors so that we can fix them.
Exactly, exactly. Oops. Okay, I think something went wrong in the way we actually said it. So I'll say
Maybe because your user is something else. Yeah.
this should have worked. Let me give it one more try.
Mm-hmm. Sure. We're all about errors and fixing them. I like the way that you can create different apps, and then when you log onto your account, you can just choose the one that you're using. So you don't have separate like 1,000 apps on your screen.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm gonna hit publish again. Second time is a charm. Let's see. So let's cast my screen so that you can see what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So just go home. Oh, we have the already existing one. I'm gonna do this again. So what did I do yesterday? Slept early. What are you planning to do today? Sleep even earlier. And are there any blockers? As long as no one wakes me up. Okay, so let's take a picture. All right, and hit complete. Yes, it
Yay!
was.
There you go.
Okay. Now all we have to do is just go to the Airtable sheet we just created, and yeah, there you have it.
Mm-hmm. So everything
Yeah,
gets stored over there. And what about the
yes,
Slack? You were saying maybe you can send a status on Slack.
absolutely. So all you have to do is just go to Slack, copy their webhook, and paste it. So Slack has this thing called webhooks. Slack webhook settings. Yeah, something like this Slack actually has on all these. All you have to do is just go to those settings. You can copy the. One second, I'll tell you.
You can probably do it with Discord as well. I was just looking if Discord has
Yeah,
any
Discord also
webhooks.
has. Discord has. So we've done more than like 50 different types of integration so far.
That's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe we could do one for our community, like a daily check-in, like how's everyone doing today?
yeah, yeah. Like for example, this is one of the ones we actually use quite often. Just go to the webhook. Oops, not here. It's opening my Slack account. Yeah, so there is some way you actually do the setting. I actually forgot. You just Google, you will be able to
Mm-hmm.
find. So all you have to do is you get the URL. The format is very similar to what we did over here, and it should automatically work, right? That's pretty much it. All right, how are we doing so far with time?
Nice. Yeah, no, it's all good. I think that was 17, 18 minutes.
Oof,
But that's
okay.
because we had the troubleshooting in between, which is super helpful. I don't want you to rush. I want people to understand. So yeah, that's good.
Are there any questions before we jump into the next one?
Yeah, that's a good question. David, Veronica, are you all following fine? Do you have any questions, or anyone watching on YouTube? Drop your questions as well in the chat. Travis Schwartz on YouTube is asking, where did the picture go? Good question. You know the selfie that you took? Where did that go?
Yeah. So I didn't send the selfie in the body. That's why. So all I have to do for the selfie, because I didn't have the field in native actually. That's the reason. But if I want to do, all I have to do is just add an image. Native has. Oh, it doesn't have an image. It has an attachment, I think.
Attachment,
Right?
yeah.
Image. I create it, and here all I have to do is say image, and I have to send. Now the new changes are actually live. When once you publish, once I do this again, now the image will actually go. But just, I mean, I didn't want to like really wanted to get into all of this, but at any point in time, even if you don't have an external integration, you can see all the data you have actually collected within Zorp itself. So just go to the tasks tab. Our stand-up application is what we just did. Just open it, and you get all this data along with the images and anything you have actually added in real time, right? So this is something you always have. But if you want to push to any other external system, like your, database backup or your BigQuery systems, whatever it is, all those things are done through the integrations part we've spoken about.
Awesome. I also have another question from Travis that I saw he left in the form, but I'll ask you at the end because it's more related to building automations.
Sure. Should we proceed with the next one then?
Yeah, Veronica is saying all good, very interesting. Thank you, Veronica. So yeah, we can carry on.
Okay, so time to do the next one. So this is again something we'll start from scratch, and we will say, so this is probably a customer visit notes. So the way I got an idea for this is that this is an app I actually use personally. So when I go to any of these events, you end up meeting a lot of people, right? Sometimes you scan LinkedIn, sometimes they scan LinkedIn. Like that process was a little messy. I was not able to keep track of what I actually do. So what I did is I created this application where I can take notes of who people are, and as soon as I submit, the data gets pushed into my central CRM. So either me or my team can actually do all the follow-ups and manage things easier. That's kind of how this app, ended up happening. So cool. So it's very simple again. So we have a couple of screens. So in this case, we're going to take some inputs in terms of whom we are talking about, what are the nodes, and finally we can, just a couple of screens. So let's say, user visit nodes. Okay. I'll use this. Use complete the form below, and the data will be pushed. Oops. All right. Make this a little bigger. All right. Sounds good. Cool. Now, let's say I want to capture something like the person's name, text field, default name of the person, and I'm going to create a field. I'll say name. Next one is a phone number. So phone number is a number, so I'm going to use a number input field. So the Zorp automatically figures out what type of data field you're supposed to use. depending on the input field you are collecting data from. Like for example, when you wanted to collect number, it automatically creates data field of type number,
That's
right?
good.
Yeah, so I'll quickly show what options are available. You can also see the entire database by going here. You can see the name and phone number over here. You can always create new fields from here. You have a bunch of different data types that are actually available, which will help you manage all of these things. Right. Cool. Just going back. Let's say you want to scan the person's LinkedIn QR code. Like that'll actually capture the LinkedIn URL basically.
Mm-hmm.
So for this, let's say I can use a scan component. Scan the person's. Okay, so this I'm gonna store it to LinkedIn scan. What else? What else can we do? Oh, we want to take notes. So I'm gonna use notes. Notes and
So you dropped in a text input for the nodes, and what kind of component did you use for the scan? Oh, it says scan.
the scan
Yeah,
component.
yeah,
It can scan both QR code and barcode.
yeah.
So like I'll also talk about a little bit more, right? So we have a signature component where you can capture the person's signature, right? You can draw it on the screen itself and sign, and that's a way. That's something used in a lot of field related use cases. You have something like a map component. Just drag and drop. The map is actually shown, and you can provide the customer's latitude and longitude. Zorp will automatically resolve the map into the right location, and it also provides navigation based on the location where you are at, the complete route, turn by turn navigation. So that's also possible. We do support collecting certain types of payments. Right now, there is no intelligence on the payments yet, but it will let you collect by where the person can scan the QR code, or you can collect cash, you can validate whether the cash is being collected, etc. So those kind of conditions can actually be put in place. We have file upload, we have drop downs, date times, like a bunch of other components actually.
What's the limitations? How many users can you have?
Oh, we have what? We our maximum usage was around what 1,000+ users in a day. That's what
Okay.
we've seen so far, but like we've not hit the limits. So as I said, these are like native Android and iOS apps done. Like it's basically how you build everything from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same stack. It's just that it's built in a different manner. So it is the one of the key metrics we actually track is the performance. How much Power Platform can actually scale? Can people use it for serious operations? Right, so that's something we care a lot about. That's why like our focus on providing a lot of design customization options is less.
Mm-hmm.
We focus more on the performance, the stability, the ability for it to work on, let's say, the latest iPhone model, and also to work on, let's say, an Android phone where the OS is not supported anymore, right? So we see a lot of those folks, especially in the blue collar industry. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something we care a lot about.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to remove this. Yeah, I think we are good. So meeting notes is taken, and we have scan is optional. We have a phone number, we have the name, and we have this. Like similarly, let's say I want to call this submit, and completed screen is. I'll just hide this and say for using visit application. This right. Cool. Yeah, I think probably we'll do another Airtable integration just for this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll check what that. So I've created one more. I think we have all these fields. I'm gonna copy the customer visits, create records. All I have to do is just copy. Push data to Airtable. Paste this. Yeah, I'm not an engineer, so I have to do a lot of copy pasting here.
Uh, I'm definitely not an engineer, so I'm paying a lot of attention here.
Yeah, this is super hard for me. That's why, like, one of the biggest things we are actually working on is how do we actually make this simpler. Let's not have this.
David is saying all engineering is copy and paste.
Exactly. I can do the same thing what we did last time. Start data dot start user dot name. This should be email, and this should be phone number, and this should be notes. Right, so I hit save. I can actually try testing it before we fail like last time, right? Give action response and try. Looks like we made a mistake. We just, oh yeah, we have to say something there.
There's no failures. There's just iterations.
Yeah, there's just situations. Yeah, I think I did something with the phone number. And like I'll have to get some help in this case, I guess. Yeah, I have to read about how Edible actually works. Sorry about this guys. Or
No worries.
Nah, I don't know. I'll have to do some Googling, I guess, right? One last time. Yes, it works. Cool. So now that it actually works, oh, I just want to quickly check if everything's okay. Oh, this. Yep. So this is a bug we have. I made a mistake.
That's good. It's good to know.
Yeah,
You can
it's very
use
good.
your note app to write a note about the bug.
Yeah. So, and this will be the email.
Travis is asking, is it possible to show images from Airtable workflow being you scan a QR code, have the app show images from Airtable, and then collect another image from the user and append to the same Airtable record?
Yeah, that's possible actually, right? So this is something we are actually launching next month, right? So this is already in like testing right now. So the way that actually works is, let me quickly show you. So when you load this particular screen, you can have an image component like this. And this image component can call the Airtable API and load the data predefined. Right? So, and where all the additional images you capture over here, all those things can actually be stored and again pushed back into Airtable once the process is completed. So that capability is something we're actually launching this month.
Nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't show it, but hopefully next time.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. I will save this. I have to do this again, I guess. Yeah, just give me 2 minutes, guys. Done.
And thank you for your questions, Travis. They're really, really insightful questions.
All right, should be okay. Okay, so now we're going to hit publish. I will cast my screen again. So create, now we will see a new item. Oops, why not? Okay, there is a way for us to give permissions, probably, or did I even publish?
No
Yeah,
workflow.
Nah, because there are no changes, that's why, so it should work.
Try again, maybe because I saw saving, maybe it just needed to refresh.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay, let me try this. try this one more time. Yeah, so now there is customer visit notes, just create it. And name of the person is, P, and some random phone number. I can scan the QR code. I don't have LinkedIn right now. Let me see if I have a QR code handy. I have a barcode. Let me see if I can scan this. Yeah, sorry about this, but when you scan a LinkedIn QR code, you will get the right one. The customer is interested in a demo. Let's follow up in a week. So hit submit and done.
I wonder if I can show you my QR code, but I don't think so.
Okay.
On
This.
my phone.
Yeah, I think I did. Wait, should have come. Where is my meeting notes?
Yeah, no.
Oops. Yeah, I think something went wrong. Sorry about the integration fault, guys. I can always claim that I'm not an engineer, and that's how it breaks. But
Is your engineering team watching us?
I hope so. I'm going to send them the feedback. See why you don't have code. Yeah, but ideally, like just like how it actually worked over here, it's supposed to send the same information over here. So that's how it's supposed to work. Now, the interesting thing is, like more often than not, let's say you've started working on a particular process, what you're going to realize is that the first version is not going to cut it. You have to make changes. Okay. Now, in that case, let's say you want to add something like the role of the person. All you have to do is just drag and drop or use a drop down. Say, what is the role of the person? And say this is a, CXO. Oops. Or it's operations, or the person is in, let's say, product. Okay, so you make those changes, you save the data. Now you have to just go back and hit publish. Your new application is actually live. So that's all it actually takes for you to go live with any of the new products. Right. Cool. I'll just pause here, see if there are any questions.
David, do you have any questions for Bala? And if not, oh, there you go.
No, nothing from me. Just happy watching along.
Nice. So we can move to the automation question that we had from Travis. So when building automations, what do you use to create a framework library to fix issues later and be able to understand how changing one no-code system affects another? If you want, I can type it down as well, because it's a long question.
Sure.
I'll put it in the chat here.
Yeah.
So when building automations, what do you use to create a framework library to fix issues later and be able to understand how changing one no-code system affects another?
I'm trying to understand this question. So is it like you're asking for how do we actually debug how the automation actually, if there are issues in the automation, is that the question? Or is it something like when I make changes to the no-code platform, how do I keep track of?
Yes, I guess that's more like it's like how do you keep track on one change affecting another no-code system or platform?
Yeah. So any change we actually make in our system, so we have this thing called versioning. That's something we don't have live yet. I can't show it right now. But the versioning will actually let you control which version of your application people are seeing it in live, right? And that way you can separate from a deployed version versus like a non-deployed version. Make sure you actually test it before people start using it widely. That is one way we are actually controlling that. In terms of automations themselves, automation in the sense pushing data, interacting with data from like an external system, there is a huge dependency on how the external system actually is configured. So a lot of systems we actually work with is internal databases, internal APIs of a lot of these companies, and we also work with some large-scale ERPs, some traditional ERPs, CRMs, and other kind of platforms. So we are still trying to figure out how do we actually solve some of those use cases. But with respect to Airtable, Google Spreadsheets, Supabase, Xano, and some of the others, we can easily implement some of the fail-safe systems in place and also solve part of them through the documentation process. So the integration process becomes easier. Yeah, so those are some of the areas we are working on.
And in terms of pricing, like say, for example, people want to start using Zorp, is there a free plan and what can they build on the free plan?
Yeah, so the set of features, almost all the features that I actually showed here is available in the free plan. Like up to one automation is actually available. For us, automation is any connection to an external system. Everything else, that's the only part that's called an automation. We allow one automation in the free plan, and any number of workflows, any number of tasks, we allow up to around 10 users. Right? So that's what we actually allow in the free plan. And beyond that, you go into one of the paid plans. Those are also like fairly straightforward.
Nice. Do you have any like success stories, like of people, something that you can share, like some, how Zorp kind of positively impacted their day-to-day work?
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the earliest customers we have is a company which was running logistics. Right. So we work with a lot of companies that have a large field force, either it is sales or warehousing or logistics services, etc. So this company was one of the biggest logistics companies here, at least in Asia, and they were pretty much running. How do you say? $500,000 per month business completely on Google Spreadsheets. So they had these 5 different Google Spreadsheets, and they had written automations in Google Spreadsheets which kind of like sync with each other to kind of keep things in place, which was very, very hard for people to manage, right? So when the logistics folks actually go on the ground, they had around 100-member calling team simply to call and know what's the status of each order that is actually being delivered every single day. Right? So we went in with Zorp. Obviously, it took us about a month for them to get convinced, because at the time, like, it was mostly based on our credentials. The platform wasn't like this robust. And yeah, they had that faith, and we actually implemented. And within 3 months, we expanded to around like 7 cities. 70% of their calling team actually moved to other teams, so that because the calling team was actually not needed anymore. Pretty much everything was automated. Every customer knew what the real-time delivery status is, how much money they're actually spending on each of the orders, and so their overall order volume, the order repeatability, all those things kind of actually went up, right? So that's one like very, very happy use case that we actually have.
That's cool. We have one more question from Travis. If the use case was to have a customer submit a support ticket through a Zorp app, do they count as a user? And if so, that becomes expensive quickly.
Yeah. So frankly, so there are a lot of these ad hoc use cases we actually get where the usage per month is not that high, right? So that is a special use case we have. So most of those customers we actually work with personally and try to work with a different pricing model. Frankly, we are rethinking our current pricing model just for this particular use case, because we have a lot of customers who either have gig workers or they have use cases which is probably like twice or thrice a month, which is being used. It's not fair for us to charge them the entire price. So that's something we are actually rethinking about. How do we actually make this easier?
Nice. Yeah, it's good. It's good that you're listening to the feedback as well and kind of thinking of the different use cases, and yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think if anyone else has any more questions, but I really appreciated the walkthrough. Zorp looks really interesting, and I'm sure it can really support and help operations. Just seeing how easy it was to create these two simple apps, but just in such a short time, and it could be very efficient. So yeah, I'm grateful for you being here today in good Thanksgiving spirit.
Thanks, my pleasure.
Let's see. Do we have... No, I think, David, you said you're good. Yeah, I think, Travis, if you have any more burning questions before we wrap up. And I'm gonna end with one question from me. Like, what was one of the challenges that you had to face when building Zorp? Or
Yeah. So one of the fundamental decisions we made is we wanted to make sure the Zorp is actually powerful and scalable and can handle scale, and can work for a wide variety of use cases, right? So that's something we had as an important point from day one. That meant that we had to go after companies with different use cases. So, for example, to talk to you about the current portfolio, right? So we have customers across sales, logistics, warehousing. People use us for dog walking, car washing. People use us for yoga trainers, customer support, right? Like daily stand-ups. Like the use cases are like so far and wide, and every use case is like so different. Yeah, it put a lot of strain on us in building the product because it had to support all of these use cases. So for us to get this self-serve out and get this current version and make it actually work, it took us about a year and a half. And during that time, we obviously had a lot of questions saying that like, should we focus on like one specific industry and like do this right? I mean, arguments can be made. We'll only know it in hindsight. But our principle from day one has been that we are solving for operations, and operation tends to be unique for every single customer. So we can't simply assume one industry and one use case and go solve for it, because that's what SaaS companies are doing, right? If SaaS company did their job well, like we wouldn't have a business. So we need to focus on solving our customer pain points, no matter how nuanced it actually is. So yeah, that's been kind of a driving force. At the same time, like a lot of times we'll have to question that assumption. That's been a little difficult part actually.
And as we were saying, we were chatting before the events, like operation is such a broad, field.
Crazy. Yeah, we're just getting started on one end of the spectrum, right? So we still don't support a lot of desk-based operation use cases. So how do we actually get to those? How do we solve those? Is going to be very exciting.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you get to see a lot of operators if you stick around in our community, and maybe you can solve even more cases for them.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I hope to see you more in our community and like keep hanging out. And I absolutely loved our presentation today with Zorp. Thank you so much for showing it to us. And I'm gonna share your social media handle in the chat if people want to connect with you. It's also in the description of this event. Or if you're part of our No Code Ops community, you're a lucky member of our community, then you can reach out to Bala. He's one of our members as well in the community. So here's the link. And Bala, I hope you have a fantastic day today. And thank you so much again for being here with us.
Thanks a lot. My pleasure. Thanks a lot for staying through my presentation.
Of course. Until next time then. Happy Thursday. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye. And goodbye to everyone else here, and happy Thanksgiving again, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.